So my podcast today may be a little bit different to some of the others in the way that this is going to be more than one part. So there is some information and knowledge that I would love to share with you, but I feel like it needs to be given in 3 different parts. So I'm going to give you the first part today so that you can digest. And it's not because, oh wow, this information is so mind-blowing, let me absorb what you're saying. I think because the way that the information is coming through to me and the way that I need to express it to you is in a way where it needs to come in these 3 parts, because I think trying to sort of channel or bring it through all at once may lose the effect of the information and what I am actually trying to get out to whoever needs to hear this. So this is not going to be a new concept. It's a new analogy to the way that I have spoken about our existence as energetic being and the way that we are existing, or how I see our existence in this luminescent field. So I feel like I am talking super slowly, but I promise you it's going to speed up. I am really trying to make sure that the words that I am saying to you are going to come out exactly as they need to. And if you ever listened to anyone who is bringing forward information that is super true for them, or is channeled, or is coming from a divine place, there is a certain way that it is delivered by them. And I remember watching lots of people when, sometimes they'd just be talking about something, and even if it's instructional or something moving or something amazing, they talk about it in a certain way. But sometimes there would be information that you would feel differently, that you would hear differently. You knew it was coming from a different level of who that person was, a different aspect. And you can call it channeling, you can call it divine download, you can call it whatever you want. But I know the more I get to know myself and the more I grow and move through the experiences around me, there's new depths to the things that I talk about. And it's funny how they circle back, but it's with this such a greater awareness or a better understanding. And it's along the same lines of when they say, to be good at something, you've got to keep trying it. And it is so true. It's that level of experience in whatever it is that you're talking about or doing or experiencing that does come from doing something more than once, or sitting in something for a long period of time versus just a touch of what the topic or what the experience or what the task is. There's definitely a difference between the two. So if I am talking in a weird voice or super slow, I apologize, but I really want to make sure that these words hit in the right places and come through exactly as they need to. So this conversation is going to be in 3 parts. So the 3 parts, I cannot tell you exactly what they will look like, but today's part is all going to be about colours. Weird, right? But no, colours. This is a really great analogy that I think really helps understand what I am talking about when I speak of energetic vibrational frequencies. Because if you are someone who does not understand what that means, or even if you do understand what that means, but have difficulty trying to come up with something that gives it an expression in your mind, it can be difficult to understand. Because when you listen to something new, a new idea, a new thought, a new way to view things, when someone gives it a real life simple analogy, it's like, okay, now that makes sense. Because sometimes our thinking brain may not understand the concept that someone is talking about, even though our subconscious or our spirit or our soul will already have that information, will already have that knowing. It's just our poor little logic conscious brain that needs to say, oh, hey, can you just put it into images and pictures that I can understand and I can process? So this color example is hopefully going to help you really understand what I mean. So we are these human beings, and yes, I'm going to go back to basics just a little bit. We are these human beings. We're existing in this 3D world. 3D means that we are not flat. We are a being that has length, width, and depth. We live on this 3D earth. Part of that and beyond that is whatever you want to call it. For this instance and for this example and for this brief little intro part, it's our soul or source, your own light. You can call it whatever you like, but there is an essence to yourself that is unique to you. It is the being of who you are. And I know there'll be another chat coming about that because I have a little bit of a deeper clarity on that. But for this purpose, let's know that we are this human body and we have this soul. So we're a spirit and this soul. In this existence that we live in, everything is vibrational, which means it's not just our soul essence that is vibrational. Even though we could look at that, depending on your beliefs, and understand that it is connected to something bigger than us, something greater than us, connected to everyone around us, connected to everything about us, we know that that is a vibrational source of who we are. It's not something physical like the human. If we look at it from a soul point, a soul is something that we just know, something that we feel, something that we believe. It is not something that we can just put on the table and go, oh, look, here's my soul. Whereas with this human, we can look at it, we can feel it, we can touch it. Other people can look at it, other people can feel it. Other people know that we are a human right now in this existence because they are seeing, feeling, touching this human body. So we know there's two distinctions, right? Looking at this human as this physical body, and then knowing that there is an essence or a spirit to us. So we have that down. So then once we can grasp that, once we can understand those two differences, if we can see our soul or our spirit or our essence as this vibrational frequency, then even if we look at this human body, just say from a science perspective, we can start to see that everything that we are made up of, this physical matter that we are experiencing using our senses, our touch, sight, hearing, smell, all those standard senses, which is what gives us the ability to accept these things as a reality. When we put any part of our physical existence under a microscope, if we zoom in enough, we are going to see something vibrating. I don't want to get the wrong terminology here, but I'm trying to think of what the lowest form of our existence is that they can see under a microscope. Because I know, when we break ourselves down into cells or into atoms, into particles and into quarks and then into string theory, all those lower levels, when you look at them under a microscope, they are not sitting there doing nothing. They're moving, they're vibrating. Like, we know how cells work. We know how they divide was going to say divide and conquer. But we know they duplicate, they regenerate. And it's only when we cease to exist that that no longer occurs. So that means we are constantly moving or doing or vibrating in some sense. And that goes for everything. It's not just our physical body. So even looking at this microphone that I'm speaking on, if we zoom in enough on this microphone and start break down what it's actually physically made of, we will see those vibrating particles of its existence under a microscope, which means it has its own vibration. It has its own energetic vibration and its own essence of not being something that is completely static or solid, even though it is something that I can physically touch, I can physically feel as being something solid in my hands based on the senses that I have. So once we can sort of then leap from that vibration of the soul, which is part of the human, but hang on, the human is also a vibrating part of the soul. It then leads us to my understanding of how everything is an energetic vibrational frequency. Everything is connected and vibrating on some level. Even in the space around these things that we deem to be solid, there is energetic vibrational frequencies. So once we can sort of see that, and don't worry, I'm getting to the colors. I'm getting there. So what happens in our human, and because we have the soul essence of us, we also have this thing called life that we experience on this 3D earth. So this is where we have our own beliefs, we have our own thoughts, we have our own experiences. There are things that this version of ourselves, this physical body, has experienced things. This version of us has moved through things that felt good. We have moved through things that felt bad. We've moved through a whole plethora of emotions in this existence alone. And if you believe in the concept of past lives and reincarnated souls, etc., you know that then there's another whole other level of experiences that we are carrying with us in this existence right now. So what happens is, if this body and our soul is vibrating at a certain frequency, part of that frequency is going to be based on those experiences that we have had physically and emotionally and also energetically. And they are going to form some sort of resonance of who we are. So when I am talking about that we have our own energetic vibrational frequency, it is going to be based on so many different things. We can't just say, oh, it's because you are this and you did this and you do that you are on this level. It is going to be so unique. It's just like a thumbprint or the colors in your iris. They're totally unique, and your frequency will be your own frequency. But in order to understand that, we're going to bring in the concept of colors, because this is how I see it now with the colors. So just say, if I did not know about working through our emotions and beliefs and that they affected my frequency, my energetic frequency that I was putting out there, just say I was the color green. No, we're not going to use green. Just say I was the color blue. Okay, we're going to use one of the primary colors. I am blue. Joe Blow over here is yellow. But because I am ebbing and flowing with the things that happen around me, which are affecting the way that I vibrate, which means my body has experiences, my energetic field has experiences, my emotional field has experiences. My blue may sort of change in colors a little bit. So there are going to be little aspects of my blue where it does maybe become a little bit yellow. And that yellow part might be when I am talking about something to do with work. Joe Blow over here, he is yellow. His frequency is yellow. So his yellow may also have other colors, but the majority of his yellow is because he likes to talk about work. So if I'm talking about work in a similar way to where he is physically sitting in his yellow existence, that part of him will have some resonance with the yellow part of me, which means that when I am talking about that topic, that idea, that thought, that emotion, that feeling, that experience, he is connecting to me because he's holding that frequency as well. Whereas if I moved more into my blue stage, and let's just say that was me talking about God, and he didn't believe in God in any way whatsoever, when I would talk about God, he would not connect to me in any way whatsoever because he is not holding any of that blue frequency. Right now, he's sitting in yellow. So he can only connect to me when I am in that yellow part of who I am. So what happens is, though, some people will stay in those primary colors. Some people will stay in those colors that do not sort of ebb and flow through different shades or different levels. They'll just exist as that color. So how I see our healing journey, our spiritual journey, our awakening towards whatever you want to call it, that allows us to start experiencing those colors more. So my blue suddenly starts to be more red. It's got more yellow. Remember we were talking about the yellow, but they are blending together in more different colors. White, black, grays are coming in, greens are coming in. So all the colors that are created from the primary colors start coming in, because all those new colors are then the different vibrational frequencies. And because I am no longer holding that solid yellow, say it was work, now I'm just using that as a very basic idea. It could be any thought, idea, or experience. So that yellow I originally had that was connecting to old solid yellow Joe Blow over there, my yellow has now changed. My yellow has now 10 different shades of yellow. And I don't know all the yellow names, so just pretend I do. So we have all these different shades of yellow. So that solid yellow I had doesn't connect to Joe Blow anymore. I don't have that frequency anymore. I'm not holding that color anymore. That's sort of not really resonating. I'm now in these new colors. So poor old Joe Blow will then go find someone else to connect to with these yellow. Or his yellow, maybe something happens to him and his yellow suddenly turns to red and he will go connect to red people. So over here, while my one solid color suddenly starts to change to different shades of many colors, I will start connecting to other people who are holding those shades of colors. So if I was now holding a light yellow, that light yellow is going to match to someone else who's holding that light yellow. So as I continue to grow in the experiences that I have, the emotions that I move through, the energy that I move through, and by all of this, I'm talking about bringing on new experiences, working on healing our old wounds, or removing stuck energy physically from our body and, on the etherical type plane. There's so many different layers to it. as I'm moving towards these different levels of where I'm holding my own vibration, those colors are still changing again. And so what happens is I am now a Canva template. And if you've ever used Canva and you want to go pick a color, you know when you are on that little, I'm not even sure what the technical word is, but when you're on that huge color wheel and you go, oh yeah, I feel like yellow, there's like 1,000 different shades of yellow or more. So that's what happens as we grow and remove or change. And this is not always, it doesn't always have to be towards something better. Of course, some things not fun or experience that aren't good can, bring our color to a different place. It doesn't always have to be into a place that, oh, look at me, I'm expanding to something higher. It's just we're expanding into a different area. But all those new shades that start coming is as we become more and more in tune with our own color scheme of who we are. So we no longer resonate with those old primary colors, those old solid beliefs, those one way of thinking, those things that we were taught growing up that we had to believe in. All these new colors that we take on board now become so unhindered by the thoughts of others or the attachment of others. They are so unique in our own creation that there's less and less people that we are able to attach to. So my yellow shade has now changed so much. Whereas before, if I was a primary yellow, there were billions of people I could have connected to and spoke about one topic and matched to, because there were billions of people who were holding that yellow as a primary color as their energetic field. But now, through my experiences, through my healing, through my awakening, my yellow has now changed so much that the people who I match to are less. There's such a less amount of people who are energetically vibrating to where I am right now. And that's not in a hierarchical way. It's in a way of the uniqueness of who we are. Because when we are stuck in that consistent thinking that this is our life, this is the only way it's going to be, this is always going to happen, this is always going to be bad, blah, 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 that is a very sort of stuck way of thinking. And you are going to be sitting in something that's not going to allow you any future growth. It's not going to allow you to have things change around you. Yet having our awareness of being able to move through these things and to release the things that we are holding on to that are not helping us right now allows us to get to this high vibrational frequency. And this is what you will hear from many people about talking, like Manifestation 101 is, match to the frequency of the thing that you desire. And that's basically what it is. Your color has to have that unique frequency of what you want. So you have to remember, though, that my little pretty weird yellow color is only going to match to someone else with that pretty weird little yellow color. And that's going to be so unique, because if that was something that I was trying to manifest in my life or something that I desired, that desire is not just, oh, I want this car. Like anyone could say, okay, I want this type of car. So it's not the same, because my desire for that particular type of car would also be wrapped up in the experiences and the emotions and my desire for it based on who I was or where I was right now. So that car desire could still be that shade of yellow, but it would be my shade of yellow. And if someone else desired that exact same car, that car could be a blue, but it would be their shade of blue, because it's matching to who they needed to be, who they need to vibrate to in order to be able to bring that desire into their reality. So when we sort of look at all those different aspects and those different levels of vibrational frequencies, we know that this is why when we're on our spiritual journey that people start falling away, because we're not matching to those people anymore. We don't have any of those colors the same as that person anymore. And if we are expanding and growing, if we keep going back looking for those old colors, it's not going to help us get more to that unique stage of who we are and that true identity of us in that vibrational state that we know that we really want to get to and we know we can really be. Because if we bring it all the way back to our soul, we know that that's the essence of who we are, and it's everything else that is holding us back from that unique frequency. So once we understand the way that everything that we hold on to in these different shades of colors that we hold on to, because we're going to have our own little color palette, we're going to have our own unique frequency on every topic, every idea, every emotion, every story. We are going to hold it in our own way, which means that the way that I talk about or have spoken about, if you have not heard it, I'm sure it's in here somewhere on other chats about moving from the light to the dark and into the luminescence, you will really start to understand more of then what the luminescent field is. So to me, that level of the luminescence is all those different colors of you energetically vibrating at the highest point that you can in all areas of your life. So if you not look at it as light versus dark or any of those sort of ways that we have been taught to look at the difference between the both and to, see that you need to follow the light or follow this one plan, or you need to be in the dark to pull through to the light, and have a lot to talk about all of that. But we're not talking about that today. The luminescent field is the essence of pulling out those most amazing, unique colors out of all the existences, out of the light, out of the dark, and brings you to that point of pure you. It is the ultimate vibrational frequency of everything that you are. So in any area, whether it's your personality, whether it's your love life, whether it's your business, whether it's your money status, it is the most unique color for each of those areas. And you may be someone who's deep in your spirituality and you're on next level awareness, you have healed many wounds, you are vibrating really high in that personal development and your understanding of your growth, but then you're kind of not that good on relationships because you haven't looked at that yet. You haven't seen if there were any thoughts or ideas or beliefs or emotions or story or energy or anything that you were still holding on in that area. So whilst you may be vibrating at the highest possible point with your spirituality, there's still that other area that you can now bring up to your highest possible point. And I honestly believe that is all we are here to do, is to keep reaching our highest energetic vibrational point across all areas. But how do we do that? That's unique as well. That's why we have so many people around us sharing what they've been through, sharing their knowledge, sharing their experience, showing us modalities, teaching us so many different things in so many different ways, because all of that together is all those different colors operating at different frequencies, because we're going to match to different things. We can have two people in a room in exactly the same position where they are at life, but they are going to match to someone else if they are looking for someone to help them move along, because that's where their colors are. That's where their energy is right now. That's where their frequency matches to. That is the color that they are operating at. So if we can continually keep trying to find those new layers of color, those new unique vibrational frequencies of exactly who we are, that is where we sit in the luminescent field. That is where we get to experience that joy and happiness and creativity and love and acceptance and everything that we ever want, because we are operating in the highest point that we can in that moment. And it sounds pretty simple. And I really think we complicate it a lot in trying to get us to that point, in the way that we over exaggerate the point of our healing, the way we over exaggerate the way that we need to attach to all these stories and these essences of what other people have experienced, and try to take them on board as ours. And the thing you will realize, and the thing that I've realized now, is that I no longer need to attach to any of that anymore, because I now know that the only thing I need is my unique energetic vibrational frequency. And the closer I get towards the highest version of that, the more intuitive information and knowing will come through from my unique existence in relation to how we regard looking at our soul or source or essence of who we are. We just come straight back to that. It's like, it's that old simplest analogy of removing the layers, but the layers are the colors, and the colors are the luminescent field, and getting to that point of literally creating new color ensembles, in creating different energetic vibrations of those color frequencies, is where the key to our magic is. And I know this conversation may be a lot for some people, may be hard to understand, but I really hope that my explanation has helped a little bit of how we are and where we are in our relation to our energetic vibrational frequencies. And yes, I've said that a lot in this little podcast. How we match to people along the way, how we unmatch from people as we vibrate into different areas, and how we just continually move towards finding more and more colors, finding more and more luminescence, because it revolves all the way back into the light, and the light is the essence of who we are. And that's just a really great way to look at it, and a really great way to understand. And I've just found so much clarity in being able to accept that now, and being able to understand that now in a level that just works for me. And it's really simple to say, it's so great over here. Look at me, I'm so healed. And it's not that it's better than anyone else or different to anyone else. It's just my experience of where I am at right now and how I am experiencing my life. And I can tell you it's crazy, but it's also so amazing. And it's just a different existence. It's constantly changing. It's constantly growing. Those colors are always evolving into different things and new things. And those colors then attach to different ideas, different thoughts, different offers, different parts of who I am, different pieces of knowing. So this is part one of what's going to be 3 parts, because then we're going to talk more about how that relates to technology, AI, and the future. I don't really want to give the other 2 topics labels yet, because I feel like they haven't fully come through. But I am going to show you, I am going to share with you what I feel and what I've seen and what I am attaching to at the moment in relation to us as organic beings, us as energetic vibrational frequencies and us as moving towards more of a technology type of existence. And I think it's really important to understand it in your own way, of course, but I just want to share what is coming through for me. And it's just a different color, right? Remember we were talking about color, so it's just going to be a different color. It's just a different shade of something. So that is all on the color. If you have any questions, of course, I'd love to answer. I am going to talk about 2 things in here at the end. So I'm going to tell you about 2 things that are currently going on. Feel free to stop listening. Right now on YouTube, I have Incubator, which is a 5-week learning journey portal program. No words, it's just a shade of color, right? But what it is every day I'm giving you some videos, training, etc. on 5 different topics. TikTok, podcast, and YouTube. So for the first 3 weeks, we're moving through those 3 on how to set it up, how to use it, etc. Week 4 is all about AI. We will be talking about this in the podcast. It's going to be a great little link up to that when we get to that in week 4. And then week 5 is all about content creation. And these 5 weeks, there's so many people who teach about podcasts, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm not an expert. I'm not a strategist. I don't have any qualification whatsoever. All I have is my own experience, and that's what I want to share with you. And like I've been talking about with that unique color frequency, I know that the way that I deliver it is going to match other people who are in that color realm, who are on that color scheme. But I've set it up, or my intention has been that it is for other spiritual entrepreneurs who are on their own journey, who want to get into new platforms and ways that they can get out there and get their message seen, or their offers, or whatever it is, in a way that works for them. Because as we start vibrating through those colors and we start to remove those layers and the constraints of everyone else's beliefs, and we start to listen to our own intuition and our own source, we start to see that we actually don't need any of that stuff, and that we have all the answers we need within ourselves. But it's getting to that point that can sometimes be difficult. So if we continue to move forward in a way that feels good for us, in a way that is energetically aligned with us, it's not going to be feeling like it's too hard or it's a big challenge. So some of the things I talk about there is, from my perspective, what's worked for me, especially on social media, because I am someone who doesn't stick to things a lot. That's just my current vibration at the moment. Is I can come up with great plans, but follow through is sometimes a little difficult. So I have ways to work around that, etc. I don't want to carry on about it. You can find out more about Incubator on all my other socials. I also just want to quickly mention every Wednesday morning, Australian time, AEST, we don't have daylight saving. I'm in Queensland. Between 9 and 11 Wednesday mornings, I have an open Zoom, which is for anyone who works from home, has their own small business, a spiritual entrepreneur, etc., who can be like me, who puts things off sometimes, or thinks, I'm going to do all this today, and then doesn't, because, you may have another job, you may have other things that you need to look after, or things you need to take care of, and you're not allowing that time for yourself to do those things that you really want to. And it's not just for your business, it can also be personal. So if there's some personal growth or something new that you're learning, or even a book, it doesn't even matter. If you need somewhere once a week where you can schedule 2 hours to do the things you need to do, I've set that up so you can come in, you can sit there, you can have screen on, screen off, voice on, voice off, whatever you like. It's just a space. Even if you just used it as a lock-in and didn't even come on the Zoom and just went, nope, 9 to 11, AEST, Wednesday mornings, I am doing this job. It may help you get into that routine. So if you want to join us, that is also in my socials. But that is every Wednesday morning, and the links are around somewhere. So this is part 1 of part 3. If you are still listening, part 2 will come out next week. There'll probably obviously be more coming into the information around that, but thank you for listening, and you shall be hearing from me next week.